Hello everyone. My name is John Barnhill. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Enrollment Management at Florida State University. Congratulations first of all on embarking upon this program to learn more about enrollment management. I am actually very honored to be part of the faculty of this program, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun learning about the business that many of us have spent our lifetimes in. I'm actually helping to teach some areas that I like to think I'm very familiar with, but perhaps not as familiar as Bruce Walker, who taught these two subject areas earlier. So I'm kind of tagging on to what he has brought to the program and adding a little bit of a different perspective to that. You may not be familiar with Bruce, but he's one of the icons in our business. I know when I was going through my early years at admissions, I would certainly listen for Bruce and listen to everything that he would either say or write, because he truly was one of the great thinkers in our profession. And so you'll learn a lot from watching his videos, and I hope to add some content to that. This is kind of an introductory video, and I would like to let you know a little bit more about me. Admissions has been my whole life. Unlike many in this profession, when I was very young, I think it was second or third grade, I decided that I wanted to be a college admissions officer. That's not really true. You've never met anyone who wanted to start out their life as an admissions person. No, if you listen to Bruce's video, like most admissions people, I started out with a different career in mind. I went to college with the idea that I would become a pastoral ministry, get into the pastoral ministry, and in fact that's a fairly common theme. There's a lot of admissions directors that have followed that route, but it was in seminary that I decided that that wasn't for me. Very religious person, like helping people, but the pastoral ministry wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And so I went to a second choice, and that second choice happened to be working for a college. Like many people in this field, when I was in college I did work for the admissions office, giving tours, was a resident advisor on campus, was very involved in campus life, and so it was kind of a natural for me to be associated with the college administration. And so I was lucky enough to get my first job in admissions. It was at a small private two-year institution. I was a road runner. I joined the crew that would go to high schools. In this particular situation, I was in the state of Georgia, so I traveled the whole state of Georgia, logging thousands of miles per week, visiting schools and trying to convince people to go to a school that they had never heard of. I have often thought that everything I learned about admissions I learned in that first experience, because there's nothing quite like recruiting for a school that very few people have heard of. I must have done pretty well there, because very shortly into my tenure, the Dean of Admissions there left, and I was promoted into that role very quickly at a very young age. I was a Dean of Admissions at 21, which some people tell me that perhaps was the youngest Dean of Admissions in the country at that time. And a lot of responsibility came with that. In fact, as I reflect on it, one of the interesting things about me teaching a unit having to do with enrollment management and what constitutes enrollment management is that was probably an enrollment manager's role, because at a real small school you're kind of an enrollment manager by default. I controlled scholarships, I made housing assignments, I lived in the residence hall, I was in charge of student activities. I actually was an assistant soccer coach and drove the team bus. There was virtually no aspect of student life that I wasn't involved in. Little did I know that that was training for becoming an enrollment manager, which at that time was a term that hadn't even been mentioned. Stayed there a very short period of time because I got married. It was located in a really small town, and my wife and I decided it was time to go to a little bigger venue. I decided to apply to graduate school to Florida State University. Went down there, got accepted into a program, dropped by the admissions office and asked if I could work part-time while going to school full-time. I was fortunate that they had some turnover, and they suggested that I go to school part-time and work full-time, and that's exactly what I did. I started all over again as a roadrunner, as a recruiter, and started recruiting for Florida State University. A totally different experience going to a school that most people had heard of. To be honest, back in the time when I started, not as many people had heard of it as perhaps today. I've seen a lot of growth in that area, but it certainly was much different working for a state university versus a small 2-year private school. Fortunately at Florida State, I was able to kind of do the same thing that I did at Andrew College. I was able to move up the ranks, went from a basic recruiting position to an assistant director to an associate director, eventually to director of admissions. And then as the enrollment management profession has kind of grown up, I was able to assume that role at Florida State University and start our enrollment management efforts here. So I think I have a lot of experience in that area, and that's part of what I would like to try and share with you in this class. And so I'm looking forward to talking about that particular subject matter. In terms of my special interest in this profession, I really think it's would have to be access and diversity issues, particularly those with first-generation students. I'm very passionate about helping others. Maybe that's from my ministry career that I left behind, but I do feel this is a particular mission. I am absolutely convinced, even to this day, of the transformative power of education in a young person's life. And so I very much like to help people. I think that's one of our responsibilities in this profession, is to help as many students as we can. Education is something that my parents ingrained into me. I'll be forever grateful for that. Surprisingly, they did not have much education themselves. My father did not graduate from high school. My mother did not graduate from middle school. Dad joined the Navy. He did finish his GED while in the Navy, but amazingly, they both latched onto the importance of an education, and they made sure that I went to college, and for that I will be forever grateful. But that's why I'm so convinced. It happened to me, and it changed my life, and I think it still changes lives today. And so that's a real passion of mine. I really like to be involved in diversity and access issues, and I've made that a real point of my career to try and help as many people as I possibly can. We can't help everyone, but I do like to always reflect on how can I make a difference in somebody's life. And so I don't see everyone, but I do see a lot of people, and I intentionally try to see people so that I can make a difference in their lives. And so that kind of shapes me and why I stay in this business, and why I like to still do a little bit of recruiting and meet with families and all the things that we love. One of the bad things about being an enrollment manager, you get removed from a lot of that. You start working more with budgets and future directions. It's a little bit different than the joy that I received when I was a roadrunner visiting parents and families and high school guidance counselors. But still a lot of fun. Still enjoy the business. I've been in it a long time, and like I said, I hope to pass along some of that knowledge that I've gained over the years to you. But once again, thank you for this challenge of trying to learn more about this profession. I got a great faculty. I wish I could say I was one of them, but the people on this staff are people I've looked up to all my life and I respect very much. And I hope I will be able to contribute something to your education. Looking forward to working with all of you, and we'll get into these next sessions. I think from a procedural point of view, you'll have a video from Bruce and a little video from me as well to try and teach you these different subjects on the enrollment management units and the different admissions models that exist out there. So good luck with everything, and I'll look forward to working with you.